Hey, hey, hey. I have a new system. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm slow. I'm always confessing to y'all. But I finally decided to see if I could use my computer to connect with you and to use a camera, do a little recording, to say hello. It wasn't necessarily my intention to do a lot of reading on this channel. As you know, I originally started it. If you're not tuning in for the first time, and if you are, I'm Laura Lynn Danley. Welcome to my channel. I have a previous channel, Laura Lynn, on mindfulness, meditation, and mantras. And this one I started, you can kind of see what's hanging over my head. I started this to have a companion to my handbook of healing with Mayan mantras, restoring balance and harmony to our lives. And we definitely will be doing more and more of that in the upcoming year. But in the meantime, I've been reading, I've been sharing my tools with you, the tools that make a difference in my life, that light that spark inside, or that help to shift the depression that I sometimes experience, or the anxiety. If the Buddha got stuck, Charlotte Kasl is something I've been sharing a bit lately, and I'm going to read some more to you today. I don't know if any of you have bothered to get the book, but if you have, like I said, I don't think they're necessarily chapters, and this is kind of a lengthy one, but it's like calling them sections, section 21, and called Step Out of the Garden, Notice the Power of False Core Beliefs. So I think it's just wanting to get our attention. I work with y'all on mindfulness and on either compassionate observation is a term, something I've taught in the past in terms of working with our shadow characters. As I've been introduced to Emoto Ma recently, I've talked more about learning how to soften our gaze, just show up tenderly for ourselves. I'm excited because I have this new tool and a new way to come to you. So let's do what we often do together. Let's just pause for a moment. My own therapist asked me, I said, I don't know if it's just because of my advancing age. I think y'all already know, so it's not like a brand new confession. It wasn't as hard turning 60 last Saturday, October 26th, as I thought it would be. But I said, is this just a sign of age that when I wake up in the morning, I used to journal every morning and I love to write. And I said, I'm a little shakier in the morning. And he said, well, what happens when you just take some deep breaths? And, I talk about, rather than a deep breath, which can feel like tension in our bellies, you've known me to talk about taking 3 easy breaths. So let's do that together today, this morning. And just sit and notice whatever it is you're becoming aware of right now. See if you can soften your inner gaze. Show up in either neutrality or self-compassion or tenderness. Just notice your breath for just a moment. You don't even need to change it just yet. I know I suggest we take 3 easy breaths, but let's start by just noticing it. Does your breath feel trapped anywhere in your body? Is there tension around it? Does it feel like you're holding it? Is it shallow? Is it labored? Is it deep? Is it easy? Does it feel like it's freely moving through your body? Just notice. And when you feel like you've raised your level of awareness, your level of consciousness, you're now aware of what's going on with your breathing. And go ahead and take those 3 easy breaths. I had a yoga teacher who, rather than say breaths for multiple, she would say breath, as in that one, I think, I don't know if this is new and we'll come across it in this reading or if I've shared it with you before, this idea of a unified field of all that is. You certainly know, because of the name of my channel, that I aming as, fill in the blank with your name, I aming as LLD just means that I believe We are the I am in form, expressing as a unique and individual self, if you will. So let's go ahead and read together. Step out of the garden. I wish there was a way, and I'll just keep learning to take the glare off my glasses, but I need them to read, so. Step out of the garden. Notice the power of false core beliefs. This has been really useful to me this week, and I've come back to it more than once. I like this. I'm as a mental health therapist, certainly studied in human development. And I like that this starts out with between the ages of 5 to 9 months. To our dismay, we find we are not merged with our mother, nor are we the center of her universe. We probably panicked. Oh, so if I'm remembering right, the months before that, we don't know where we end and our mother begins. There is a healthy enmeshment, a healthy narcissism, where it's just all about getting our needs met. And we all know what unhealthy narcissism looks like when we've experienced traits like that ourselves or run into individuals in the world that carried that well into adulthood. So between the ages of 5 to 9 months, to our dismay, we find we are not merged with our mother, nor are we the center of her universe. We are separate. She has other people in her life. Terror strikes at our young heart. People start saying, no, don't do that. And sometimes we are frustrated, unhappy, or scared. And no one comes. Just had one of my earliest memories is that 6 months being alone in my crib and crying out for someone to come. I don't have enough of a memory at that age to know if I was sick, hungry, tired, cold, scared, lonely. I don't know, but I cried out for help, and my mother was forbidden to come to me. And I continued to cry, since that's the only way a 6-month-old. I didn't know if I was going to share this memory. It came to mind. I thought, well, I don't know that I need to share it, but why not? I mean, who knows what your earliest memory is? Who knows if the caregivers, the adults, the parents in your life showed up and met your needs or not, and let you know that you had value and worth and your needs would be met when you asked for that, or whether you'd suffer some kind of what felt like punishment or unwanted consequence for asking that your need be met. As my crying continued, my mother was forbidden to come get me, and instead my father. And I don't, it's like I say I don't remember this, but I swear it's just wired in. It was wired in. Up until now, it had influenced my worldview, my probably level of self-worth. Anyway, without going too deep into that. But he got up and spanked me to stop the crying. So that's a message in itself, isn't it? Squeaky chair. Y'all, if you've been with me for long, and even if you're meeting me for the first time, you may wonder why I just suddenly went to giggle. Why there's a big smile on my face after she just shared a very painful memory. I don't think it's just because I recently discovered Al-Anon and ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics. I didn't have an alcoholic parent, but there were some isms in my family I'm learning, and but I definitely had dysfunction. So adult children of dysfunctional families. And as I continue to learn, I'm a therapist, a mental health therapist. I work with clients. I've been in therapy nearly my entire adult life. And I've learned so many tools on how to lovingly reparent myself. So I can share a painful memory like that. And then the giggle that comes afterwards as I listen to my squeaky chair, which may be a pattern interrupt. I don't know. Maybe it changed the channel in my brain, or maybe it just brought me back to the joy that also exists within me. Now let's go back to it. So we hear, no, don't do that. And sometimes we are frustrated, unhappy, or scared, and no one comes. I love you. I want you to feel me here with you right now. If you were one of those children, if you're one of those adults that still wonders why you feel so alone or isolated, I want you to feel my love right now. Put your hand up to the screen next to mine. I love you. I love you. I love you. Let's see if I can widen this. Doesn't look like I can. That's all right. We are cast out of the paradise of I am. Can see why I'm drawn to this reading. And I may bring in now. Let's do it now and later. So I have a harder time getting this particular bowl, my heart chakra bowl, to resonate like I do. I have a crystal bowl out in the living room. It's large and it really... So let's start with this one. When I read this the first time, I probably was feeling some anxiety, maybe some depression, some confusion earlier in the week. And I don't know if it's... I just had my birthday, if I was wondering what's next. I don't remember exactly. But when I read that about we are cast out of the paradise of I am, I thought, can I remember that feeling? And I know what that feels like. If you've been working with me, if you've been using any of the tools on my channel, you've experienced it too. So this is a Tibetan bowl. And it's at the vibration of our heart chakra. So when I thought earlier this week about what that frequency, what that feeling of I amness is like, and this is what came to mind. Let this wave just wash over you. See if you can remember or reconnect to this feeling. Kind of wanted to take us back to that place, that frequency of the heart, of love, of I amness. I've quoted on several other videos Margaret Laird, We Are the World We Walk Through, and along with that idea, so the I aming also came from that, and from one of her sayings, I'm not the walker or the walked, I'm the walking of my dog. I'm not the petter or the pet, I'm the petting of my cat. I'm not the lover or the loved. I'm not the lover or the loved. I am the loving. And to me, that frequency I just shared with you is the loving coming straight from our heart center, our heart chakra, from that place of I aming, I am this, I aming. So I wanted you to feel that again. Remember what that feels like as we continue to read. So we started hearing, no, don't do that. Don't be that. Don't be your authentic self. One other recording I was going to do for a client was from Don Miguel Ruiz. He wrote the 4 Agreements, and this other book is The Voice of Knowledge. And so be looking for that. I think I'll do it real soon. Because he has a chapter in there. I think it's the 3rd chapter on the lie of our imperfection that speaks specifically to the stories that others tell us. Others tell us who we are. And they're just stories, but we believed them. The level of our distress is deeply affected by the ability of our caregivers to attune. I like that. We just did some tuning. If I didn't already say, this is page 70. The level of our distress is deeply affected by the ability of our caregivers to attune to our sounds, gestures, and needs. Our distress is eased greatly when we are cradled in loving arms, mirrored. You've heard me talk, I imagine, especially if you're one of my clients, about active reflection, about reflecting what we hear in others. We can quickly diffuse an argument, a power struggle, a battle between us and somebody else. It's that disconnect that we feel and that meaningful connection we want with others. We can achieve it if we can learn to reflect what we're hearing from that place of neutrality. If we can soften our gaze and be tender with others as we offer a mirror to them instead of trying to analyze or fix or interpret even, which I obviously do some as a therapist. The greatest gift we can offer, the greatest thing we probably need and we can offer others is to see them, hear them, truly understand them in a great way of helping others feel like they're understood, of feeling or like we're understood is when others reflect for us. Our distress is eased greatly when we are cradled in loving arms, mirrored and looked at with delight by our primary caregiver who feels relaxed in his or her body. So I love that I started with Ralph Hyman. I love you. Thank you for being a part of my life. You've saved my life. You've enriched my life. You've held the candle. You've mirrored my inner worth, my inner light in those times when I couldn't throughout the last 25 plus years. You recognized you met me. Did you say I was 35, 36? And you're like, oh my gosh, are you actually turning 60? I'm like, yep. When I'm in session with him, and hopefully when my clients are in session with me, and if I feel myself amping up, and if I'm not relaxed in my body, and I try to take some easy breath, and I try to blow out some tension to demonstrate, to model for my clients how to do that themselves. So thank you for reminding me of that this week, Ralph, and thank you for, so I started the video this morning to, actually we're in the afternoon already, Sunday, November 3rd. Happy birthday, buddy Case. I love you. I love you. I love you. I know I haven't been in touch much lately, and being selfish was a really bad thing we were taught. And so I learned how to give it all away. I learned how to empty myself, which led to increased depression. It led to me being very unwell for a long time. And then maybe even my motivation to be there for others didn't come from a healthy place because I wasn't whole, healthy, complete. I mean, I've always been those things. If you think about stepping into the unified field of all that is, I am always whole and complete. But I'm having a human experience, and quite often I'm not in touch with that. So I brought that up, buddy, because I've been thinking about you all day, and I would normally reach out. I would normally drive to see you. I would normally set my own needs aside to make sure that I showed up for you, especially on your birthday. And it may feel right now like I don't love you, like I'm not there for you. And that breaks my heart. And if I'm being selfish in my recent commitment to showing up for myself, for putting my needs above all others right now, I've been doing that for a short while in comparison to, I'd say, lifetimes of not doing that, not just this lifetime. I am coming back to self with a capital S. I am stepping back into the unified field of all that is. And from there, I can radiate out the loving that I am. And that may not come in the form of a phone call today. That may not come in the form of me dropping everything to come to you. But I hope in a much more authentic way, you can feel it in waves, just like my old woman song. I cast my love out on the waves. If you watch this, buddy, put your hand up to mine. Put your hand on your heart, like I'm putting my hand on my heart. And breathe with me. The greatest gift I can give myself, the greatest gift I could give you, buddy, on your birthday, the greatest gift I can give anyone is to lead them back to this. I didn't know if I was going to get to doing a video today, and it may be either far longer or I may not get around to reading everything I wanted to read you today. You know me well enough now that I might have an idea. I may have no idea of what I want to do when I get on a video with you. I may just want to share the color of my eyes, get up close and personal. Oh, I may want to reconnect to my own giggle. May want to share that with you. I may want to help you connect to your breath, to your heart, the bowl we used. I may have no plan, or I may have this idea that's planned to share this. And I get on here and I go wherever. Just wherever. I cannot do this wrong. You cannot do this life wrong. Did you know that? You cannot do this life wrong. You can't get it wrong. Now, I get that we all know what suffering feels like in human form. We know if we're fortunate, doesn't feel like the right word, but whether we were raised in the church, that can lead us back to the divine, or it can distract us from the divine within. It can. I mean, I know people who have suffered greatly. I'm looking for a word. I don't know if it's religious trauma. Anyway. If we are routinely neglected, hurt, hit, or shamed, or we observe violence, our nervous systems will be chronically agitated, and our false core beliefs will become deeply rooted in our psychological makeup. I don't want to take time right now to look at that list again and transparently share with you which of those I relate to. But I definitely relate to this idea of being chronically agitated and having these false core beliefs we're going to get to here in a minute. I know what it's like to feel like they're deeply rooted in my psychological makeup. And again, the recent gift of Al-Anon. If I don't know, check out ACA, if not Al-Anon, if you don't identify with, if you don't have an alcoholic in your life, if you don't feel like your own life, your own emotions have become unmanageable because somebody else in your life, because of some dysfunction in your family. Like ACA is more about feeling like an adult child of that dysfunction, which is what this is speaking about. You know, if you don't feel ready to show up in person, if that feels too vulnerable, too transparent, too scary, go online and Google, find some Zoom groups. I feel less alone since I walked through those doors. Now, I've had a wonderful, loving therapist for years. I have some loving individuals in my life have consciously chosen to let go of some relationships and to either be alone with my own loving inner parent, be alone with my inner child and let her know how much I value her. And Al-Anon and ACA have been groups that have allowed me to feel less like a freak, less crazy. The people in that room understand what I'm saying, what I'm expressing, what I'm feeling. When I share stories of my life, they don't look at me with that blank stare. Y'all know what that blank stare looks like. When you're sharing with somebody the pain of your life, maybe some pain from your childhood, maybe something that happened yesterday, and the person you're with just stares at you blankly. And maybe it's because they didn't experience it. They can't relate to it. They don't understand. And yay for them if they don't know what this pain feels like. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But those blank stares can be, it may sound overly dramatic to say traumatizing in their own way. Maybe they just bring up, they trigger, they activate our past hurts. When we get a blank stare from somebody else, we feel that much more alone. We feel that much more crazy. One thing I love in Al-Anon, an ACA, there's a rule, and not every group does this well, but there's a rule for no crosstalk. And the reason that's important to me is I don't feel like anyone's trying to fix me. They're not trying to come up with the answer for me. Well-meaning people in our lives, people who want to, their love language may be to try to fix us. Their love language may be to try to come up with the answer for us because they want to put an end to our suffering. When you love someone, of course you want to see a lightening or an end to their suffering. But for me and for many, many others on this planet, what feels far more healing is if you can sit with me and if I can feel that you are really present, perhaps in silence. Definitely not trying to solve it for me, not trying to talk me out of what I'm feeling, not trying to interpret or analyze my past or explain it to me as if you were there. That can be hurtful. If you can be present in silence, if you can mirror, reflect, I know, Kasl, if you want to learn how to do that, find me. I love teaching active reflection. I love teaching the tools of how to reflect for others. It's the most healing thing we can do. It's the most loving thing we can do to show up as the loving that we are, mirroring, reflecting the loving that they are. And when someone does that for me, I feel they're almost like trust in me that I am smart enough. They see my wholeness, my completeness, and they know I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to find my way to that without them explaining to me how it wasn't as bad as I may have thought it was, or how, I don't know, how to get to someplace other than I am. It's funny because as I just said that, I thought, I teach others. On my other channel, Laura Lynn, on mindfulness, meditation, and mantras, I teach how to change the channel in our brains. So I don't know where I was going with that other than I hope that feels different than me. Well, I'm offering tools to give you a roadmap back to your most authentic self, your most authentic, imperfect self. I have a new mantra in life. Before I go to any activity, before I spend time with someone, I ask myself, will I feel seen? Will you feel seen, heard, and understood? And will you feel like you can be your most authentic and imperfect self in the presence of this person while you're at that activity? Will I feel seen, heard, and understood? And will I feel like I can be my most authentic and imperfect self? Perfectly imperfect. I don't think I've shared that song. I gotta learn how to share my videos. Go to 10pennygypsy.com. I have a music video. I was on the Peace Walk with British Sterling Malone II. Got to touch base with him recently, and I think he's raising the funds right now to complete his document. Walked from Florida State to Washington State. And I met him while I was coming through Arkansas and got on the walk with him and supported him in that a few times. And as a film student, He helped me while we were in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, record a music video for my song Perfectly Imperfect. Check it out, 10pennygypsy.com. I love you, British. Thank you for helping me bring that to life. And to my music partner, Justin Patterson, for your beautiful harmonies. To Anthony Crawford, who produced our album, our first album. Self-titled, 10 Penny Gypsy. If we are routinely neglected, hurt, hit, or shamed, or we observe violence, our nervous systems will be chronically agitated, and our false core beliefs will become deeply rooted in our psychological makeup. At worst, they become like a Goliath looming over us, storming about inside, criticizing, censoring, mercilessly harping at us, convincing us we are unlovable or a loser. Justin Patterson, my music partner, wrote a song, I think called Losers, recently, about that fine line between us and those that we sometimes look at as the losers in life, or they've lost something or lost everything and they're homeless or they're... The tenacity and pervasiveness of our false core beliefs will vary tremendously. The tenacity and pervasiveness of our false core beliefs will vary tremendously. Even in the best of situations, however, we need to deal with the prospect of being a separate human being, along with the reality that we are completely helpless and unable to care for ourselves. It might go something like this, unconsciously, of course. So let me take it back. Since I've been breaking up this reading, this is back to those first 5 to 9 months. Oh my gosh, I'm no longer merged with my mother. This is scary. I must have done something wrong. How can I get her back? I'd better do whatever it takes to make sure she stays with me. Does this sound a bit like what happens in our lover relationships? The child wanting to feel merged instead of separate comes to a conclusion about what went wrong or what he or she can do to once again feel merged. Here are some core beliefs that start to emerge. I want you to go ahead and connect to your I want you to feel these, because I don't want this to necessarily be activating, but I want you to feel seen and heard and understood, because you likely are carrying one or several of these false core beliefs within you, deeply rooted in your psychological makeup. But let's go back to that heart center. Our I amness. I aming as Laurelyn Danley. I aming as Buddy Case. I aming as British Sterling Malone II, Justin Patterson, John David, Brittany, Donna, Roger. From your heart, can you hear this? Here are some core beliefs that start to emerge. I am defective. I am shameful. I am unlovable. I am powerless over my life. I am unwanted. I will always be abandoned. My body is defective or shameful. I am worthless. I am inadequate. I don't exist. I am alone. See which beliefs ring true for you. While most of us have some aspects of these false core beliefs, there's usually one in particular that becomes the central belief around which we organize our personality. This concept of a single organizing personality trait derives from historic Sufi teachings, which became the Enneagram. Did not know that was the Enneagram was influenced by Sufi teachings. I had no idea. And I might be one of the, not few, I'm sure there's plenty of human beings on the planet who haven't studied this, but I know a lot of people who have. And if you have, you know what an Enneagram is. Culture, family, and genetic filter. Reading on page 72. The formation of our false core beliefs is a process affected by millions of interactions over the years with our parents, families, and social system. It's a combination of what happens around us and what we bring to a situation, our perceptions and internal reactions and conclusions we come to that become our belief system and ways of coping. If you don't fully understand that sentence and you haven't yet, or even if you have, watch the movie. It's funny. The title just escaped me. It's animated. Helps us really recognize what our beliefs, our beliefs that form, absolutely, and our emotions that are trying to be at the control panel. Joy's trying to be at the control panel and keep sorrow or sadness away. And anyway, maybe it'll come to me. We bring to the table an exquisite mix of genetics, temperament, education, intelligence, physical ability, chance events, and cultural messages affected by class, race, and ethnic background. There's so much that goes in to the development of our personality, our identity, our core beliefs. As survival creatures, we tend to adopt types of behavior and skills that help us fit in, gain approval, get attention, and avoid harm or rejection. In some families, acceptance is readily given. In others, we find ourselves fighting against parental scripts, and in yet others, we seek ways to survive chaos, insensitivity, and even violence. As we slip away from the state of I am, you remember what that felt like when we listened to the heart chakra bowl? At any time in this, if you start to feel really activated and it gets really uncomfortable, as much as I want you to feel seen and heard and understood by what I'm reading, just put your hand on your heart center. Apply a little pressure so your inner child knows you're there with her or him. I'm there with you. He, she, they. As we slip away from the state of I am, we enter the world of language, of good and bad, right and wrong, acceptable and not acceptable. It may seem weird to my clients that I try to help them let go of those. In therapy, to heal, this may sound, you may not believe this yet if you haven't been in a setting like this, or that it's good to let go of good and bad, right and wrong, acceptable and not acceptable. Those got so hardwired in us. We don't know how to be our authentic and perfect self because we learned how to judge everything we think and feel and do. Language, beliefs, and fitting in begin to overshadow the simplicity. Language, beliefs, and fitting in begin to overshadow the simplicity and peacefulness of I am. Definitely makes me want to read The Lie of Our Imperfection, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Voice of Knowledge. It's exactly what that chapter speaks of, is this paragraph right here. Let me read that one more time. Language, beliefs, and fitting in. I'm going to throw back in there avoiding abandonment, rejection, criticism, avoiding violence maybe. Begin to overshadow the simplicity and peacefulness of I am. I aming as I am. You might want to sing it with me or say it with me. I am as Laura Lynn Danley. I am. Two diverging paths. We tend to veer off from the natural self in two different ways. Some people deny their power anger, strength, and right to self-expression, and seeks security through others. I'll be rescued. Someday my prince will come. Or princess. Other people deny their need for human connection, affiliation, care, and support, and take on the stance, you can't count on anyone. I can do it myself. I know people like that. You know people like that. Many people do some of both. I absolutely do some of both. In either case, the person becomes fragmented because they are denying various parts of themselves, from their intelligence, ability to act, and need for affiliation, to their anger, fear, and grief, instead of being in the flow of life. They spend their energy pushing away and hiding various parts of themselves. This leads to self-absorption and feeling separate, which creates anxiety. Stories to reduce anxiety or uneasiness. The people who deny their power, strengths, and self-expression tend to feel insecure and look for someone to take care of them. Sounds a bit like the fairy tales. I'll feel secure when I find someone who adores me. I spent my entire first 59 years of my life looking for that. And I will say, I found it a couple times. Jeff Pine, I know this is public. I am sorry. You adored me. You loved me the best you could. And I didn't love myself, so I couldn't feel it. It wasn't real. And some other false core beliefs wired deeply in. Justin Patterson, you still adore me. You still love me deeply. You show up in your perfectly imperfect way every chance that you get. And I haven't up until now always received it with purity of heart. I wasn't in a unified field of all that is. Enough of me wasn't in that to just let you be you, to see the beauty and perfection in your imperfection. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. We're finding our own brand of relationship. We definitely have something unlike anything I've ever seen. All right, now it's a loving friendship. Because I didn't really know how to be a loving girlfriend. I didn't know how to continue to be the loving that I am, to receive the loving that you are. Any of you out there. So I'm learning how to be a loving parent to myself and a loving friend to others. Before maybe if I'm lucky, I can become a loving partner to somebody. Or just remain in the loving that I am in every relationship, no matter the title, the description, the definition. The stories often center, I'll feel secure when I find someone who adores me. When I'm told I'm beautiful and I have a nice home to live in. Fortunately, I have a couple people right now. I have 2 roommates who think I have a beautiful home and they love living here and they feel the healing environment that I've created. And it's a healing it's their healing place too. They're happy, they're a safe place. And as I approach 60 and watch myself, I've lost track of how many months I've been doing this channel, but you watched me start out feeling pretty ugly and raw. And I think my first few videos, I couldn't even get up and put makeup on. I don't even remember exactly what I was dealing with, but it was intense. And I didn't want to put off starting my channel for 1 more minute. So I let you see my raw and unedited self, which I'm still unedited and raw. You're hearing more laughter than you did in those first. And hopefully you're seeing more self-acceptance. I started doing really short videos because I want to keep y'all. And I hope, by now, if it gets too long, just pause and hopefully come back to it. I kept saying I was going to do a birthday video, so maybe this is it. I'm giving myself permission to go. We're already at 45 minutes, and I'm going to keep reading. So pause and come back to it if you need to go do something else. I'll feel secure when I find someone who adores me. Thank you to those who have. Sorry, it didn't work at the time. When I'm told I'm beautiful. Oh, I never finished that song. The One Nod. It was about the idea of all the world around me applauds or nods in approval, tells me I'm beautiful, I have a beautiful voice, and I'm still looking for the one nod to prove my inner false beliefs true. That I'm not beautiful, that I'm inadequate, that I don't exist. I'm invisible, be abandoned, rejected, left, unloved. I can say, I'm not looking for that one nod anymore. And I'm seeing the nods of the true reflection. And still dealing with the false core beliefs at times. The stories often center around some magical, unlikely event taking place that will ease all of one's suffering and make life sweet and easy. Oh, God. I love reading this shit because I don't know, it's me. It's what I've been up until now. It's like, and I shifted in some of my spiritual practices, let's put it that way. And then I was suffering in a different way because I thought I should always be in ease. I should always be in joy. I should always be vibrating at a high frequency and be love and light to all and nice all the time and sacrificial and blah, 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 blah. From finding the all-loving or rich partner to winning the lottery to a dreamy notion that things will just get better on their own. God, I even had that one. It's just magically going to happen. I didn't have to do a thing. Even though I do believe, thank you, Aster Enos. There's nothing I need do. There's nothing I need do that I'm not already doing. May sound like dialectic I talk about in my videos, two apparently opposing ideas, yet they're both true. I have to take action to create the life, or maybe just allow it or accept it. And there's nothing I need to do that I'm not already doing. It's a non-dualist affirmation. It's like living with one foot off the ground, not realizing the need to be proactive in one's life. The I don't need anyone, or I won't let anyone get close to me side might feel like, I am strong, I can cope, I can figure it out myself, I don't need anyone. As a result, a person might become extremely skilled in a profession, yet be uneasy and afraid in relationships, emotionally and physically walled off from the ability to love and be loved. I must do it myself. As a natural conclusion to come to if early relationships have been fraught with hurt, loneliness, and inconsistency. Thinking of a friend who learned to connect with nature very deeply, very early, because the adults, especially, and people in her life just weren't there for her. She learned to do it herself. She learned to wander off and be alone in the woods. But the truth is, we all need relationships and a sense of belonging to feel at ease in life. Definitely say that's true in the mental health profession. I haven't thought about that much lately for some reason. We all need to feel a sense of belonging to feel at ease in life. Either type of story makes us feel uneasy and off-center, and we wind up losing access to crucial aspects of ourselves. I mean, we have to cut off access to parts of ourselves to fit in, we think, to feel like we belong. Creating a pattern of behavior to try to cope with or compensate for the anxiety-producing beliefs is the result. Compensating beliefs or behaviors. To avoid pain and anxiety, we transform our false core beliefs into a course of action Usually through a period of trial and error, we create a system of beliefs and behaviors that provide an illusory escape from the dreaded feelings associated with our false core beliefs. The problem is that they don't work because concepts such as lovable, worthwhile, powerful, and shameful are mental constructs based on conditioning and are not who we really are. In other words, you can't disprove something that doesn't exist to begin with. You can't disprove something that doesn't exist to begin with. You can't disprove a false core belief. Because though it feels very, very real, it doesn't exist to begin with. Stephen Walensky teaches that all these concepts come in pairs. For example, the concept I'm worthwhile is inextricably tied to the concept I'm worthless. Why would you need to prove you are worthwhile if you didn't have a sense of being worthless? Both are abstract, subject to interpretation, and based on external circumstances, which means they can fluctuate moment to moment. Don't we know it? Our journey to getting unstuck means dropping all these concepts and, as Nisarga, I had the hardest time pronouncing this, Nisargadatta teaches, meditate on the I am, meditate on the I am, and drop everything that follows. Give up trying to feel lovable. Remember, we're not the lover or the loved. We are the loving. If I'm the lover, I'm trying to be perfect, to be honest. I talked a little bit about Buddy's birthday today, and I feel like a bad friend for not having reached out yet because I'm in my own cocoon. I'm in my own cave. I'm working on my own wellness tools. I'm learning on how to interact with others better so that I stay healthy and have healthy interactions. Give up trying to feel lovable. So that's I am the perfect lover, or I am the loved means I gotta do. Well, there's something there's something I need to do to feel loved. There's something I have to do to earn loved, but I'm not. I am not the lover or the loved, and I know we're all aspects of all of this. We are the lover, we are the loved, and yet we're neither. We are the loving. I am. You are. The loving. I am. You are the loving. Give up trying to feel lovable, wanted, powerful, good, or worthwhile, and come back to the breath and the knowledge that you simply are. But I digress. Here's how we take a false core belief and try to overcome, hide, bury, or get rid of it to our peril. Lost in the spin of disproving false core beliefs. Lost in the spin. Boy, we all know what that feels like. How many of us feel like we sit and spin still a majority of the time? No matter how many tools we have. I hope I don't know. Anyway. We were lost in the spin of disproving. Again, remember, you can't disprove something that doesn't exist in the first place. But we're lost in that loop, in the spin of disproving false core beliefs. So I'm going to give you, and this is all on this page. Page am I on? Can I read? 74. So over here we have the false core beliefs, and over here we have the compensating belief or behavior. So the false core belief, I am powerless. The compensating belief or behavior, I am powerful when I am the head of the organization. I feel powerful when I seduce someone. I feel powerful when I earn a lot of money. I feel powerful when I look good. I feel powerful when I have expensive things. Just feel into that and see if any of those land as true, and recognize again this compensating belief or behavior that you've developed is to disprove this false core belief that you are powerless. Next false core belief. I am unlovable. Painful one, huh? I feel lovable when someone admires me. I don't know that it's on here, but I feel lovable when someone tells me I'm beautiful. Which got scarier as I approached my 60th birthday. Yet I'm still very beautiful. I love you, Laura Lynn. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. I feel lovable when I have sex. I feel lovable when someone praises me. I love your beautiful voice. I love your music. Oh, you guys are just so awesome. You should have won all 7 of those country music awards you were nominated for. I feel lovable when I get invitations from important people. I used to feel lovable when a lot of people would show up to birthday parties. Not that I've had very many in my life, but this year I actually uninvited some people. Sorry, they were just people that I didn't know very well. Some of my roommates or my mom might have invited. Doesn't mean I don't love you or want to get to know you, but I let myself choose just people I already felt safe with. I already felt seen, heard, understood by. I felt an intimate connection with. There's a loving, happy exchange with these people already, and I was surrounded by them on my birthday. It's probably the sweetest one I've had. Next false core belief. I am worthless. Compensating belief or behavior. I feel worthwhile when I achieve. I feel worthwhile when people notice me. That's why it's so painful to feel like I don't exist. It's so painful to feel invisible. I have some friends who have loved me for years, my yayas, and there's one in particular who I admire because she has no trouble stating what she wants. She has no trouble interrupting a conversation, taking it over, talking about what she wants to talk about, whether or not it's what the rest of us were already talking about. I love you. And I realized I started to feel invisible in those moments. If the attention got taken away from me, or she didn't come in and participate in the conversation I maybe was already a part of, or I don't know. And yet she used to be somebody, when I first moved to Little Rock and when I was around 36, she was one of the people I felt most seen by, most understood. She gave me permission to be my radical and my most beautiful self. She was with me when I bought my beautiful red satin shoes. I didn't have to apologize for being beautiful or sexy in her presence. I didn't have to apologize for being powerful. So maybe during the years when I felt more identified with my false core beliefs, we kind of butted heads. That makes sense. I felt invisible in her presence. Back to I feel worthwhile when people notice me. I feel worthwhile when I get an award. Imagine what we felt like when we didn't win any of the 7 Arkansas Country Music Awards we were nominated for. And the truth is, I'm at a place in my life now where it honestly felt like a win to be nominated all those times. And we won for the Songwriter Showcase that I founded in 2017. Cliff and Susan Prowse, thank you. They helped us bring it to a virtual stage in 2020. And that's what we won for, was that kind of podcast, which is interesting. So we haven't won in a performing category yet, which I know Justin and I would both love to be acknowledged for. But I feel like a winner in my heart now. And that truly is enough. And I don't need the award anymore, maybe to feel worthwhile, but I'd still love it. I would celebrate it. I welcome it. I welcome any awards coming my way in my future. I feel worthwhile when I earn a lot of money. My relationship with money is still Rhonda Byrne, the magic, one of her great gratitude exercises, and one of the things I still say almost every day. Thank you for all the money that's been given to me in my life. I allow just as much as I need and a bit more to always be there for me. I don't work as hard as I used to. I play more. I focus on wellness tools. I create videos for you all, and I study with my Mayan elder, and so on and so on. And not all of that brings me money just yet. So we'll see if my relationship to money changes in the future. I feel worthwhile when I accomplish tasks. I feel worthwhile when I help others. I feel worthwhile when I'm good. Ugh. Now, I can see how these can be the opposite too. It's like I used to be a procrastinator. I had a hard time accomplishing tasks. My handbook of healing with Mayan mantras, I was well on my way to finishing last year. I came home and got hit by the tornado in March 2023, and I haven't even come back to it. So I could judge myself for that or feel like I'm not fulfilling my purpose and feel worthless. But there's nothing I need to do that I'm not already doing. There's nothing I need to do that I'm not already doing. Say it with me if you need to hear this today. There's nothing I need to do that I'm not already doing. You probably have a voice in your head that wants to argue with that. Just notice it. I feel worthwhile when I'm a good is a big one. Bumping up against that again today with not having reached out to my friend yet. I sent a text and I hope he feels my love on those waves, but I have my reasons for not having called yet. But they push that button of I need to be good. I need to be nice to everybody. I need to show up for you. Your needs are supposed to be more important than my needs, is how I've acted up till now, and that led me to depression. This may sound intense right now, and I'm not there right now, but throughout my life, I had some thoughts about not being alive, maybe some passive ideation that I didn't want to wake up because life was too hard. I couldn't seem to change certain patterns, or I couldn't make a relationship work that I wanted to make work, or I couldn't show up for a friend that really needed me. I did not, in those moments when I didn't feel good, I felt like I didn't deserve to be alive. I didn't know my purpose for being alive. You may relate to that. I am neither good or bad. I'm neither right or wrong. I'm not the lover or the loved. I am. You are the loving. No matter what. All these one more. I am helpless is the last core belief that. So the compensating belief or behavior to disprove the false belief of I am helpless. Felt that a good part of my life. I feel secure when someone takes care of me. And the irony of that is, I felt abandoned by my mother very young. I feel like I raised her family for her when she ran away from home. I felt like did not feel seen, heard, or understood by my dad, so there was a learned helplessness in that. I couldn't see my partners in life very clearly, but yet I felt like I would feel secure when someone else took care of me, but I never got there. I never actually, I felt some moments of security with a couple of partners in life, but it wasn't enough because I was lacking a few other things I couldn't yet tell myself. I feel secure when I seduce someone. Ouch. I've been celibate for years now. And it may be because I was trying to learn not to do that. I feel secure when my children do well. Don't have any children, but I feel secure when I have a lot of money. Again, that's not exactly true for me yet. I feel secure when people praise me. I feel secure when I believe God loves me, which used to be connected to I am good when I'm good. Now it's just true, period. All these compensating behaviors create suffering because you're trying to prove or disprove a false belief about yourself. For example, if you're doing good deeds to prove you are worthwhile, there will be a driven quality about it. Being truly helpful flows naturally from an open heart. It's the difference between feeling relaxed and fascinated with life, as opposed to being driven by and operating out of the ego. Let those words land. I'm going to read them again because I think everybody listening right now knows what this feels like. My partners know that I was not relaxed previously in life, and it was probably hurtful that I had to become single to get there. But I'm learning how to be relaxed in the natural flow of my life. I'm learning how to be my own loving parent so that I can show up as the loving that I am in other relationships. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I am the loving. I am. I am. I am as. It's the difference between feeling relaxed and fascinated with life. When I left my most recent relationship, definitely not any fault of his own. He always did his best by me. I was very unhappy. I was just stuck in so many of my own false core beliefs. Nothing he did could bring me out of that. I'm sorry. And I remember thinking, where's my joy? I'm a social being. I'm charged by positive social engagement. Social engagement isn't always positive, is it? And I'm fascinated by life, and I tap into my own joy when I was young, for sure. Obviously, that got conditioned out of me. And here at 59 years old, I've just found my way back to my fascination. Fascinated with life. As opposed to being driven by and operating out of the ego. The ego is nearly always trying to expand itself. You praise me, my children do well, I earn a lot of money, and I feel bigger. But, like taking a drink or eating fudge, the momentary satisfaction is fleeting because the praise, the stellar behavior of my children, or the status of my job has nothing to do with the essence of who I am, of who you are. The Buddha and the sages are never... Pause. This was probably the most helpful thing I read this week. I mean, it all, obviously, that's why I'm hanging in there. I'm over an hour. I haven't done a video this long in a long time, if ever. The Buddha and the sages are never trying to build themselves up. The Buddha and the sages are never trying to build themselves up. It's probably why Aster, your non-dualist affirmation, there's nothing I need to do that I'm not already doing. I don't need to build myself up. As a result, they are not tossed around by external events, situations, and the reactions of others. They lived centered in the constant and unified field of all that is. There may be a little bit left to this. I'm on page 75. Yeah. But I want to come back to that frequency, that state of I am, that beingness. As I read this to you again, we may end with this. Put your hand on your heart if you want to, if you need to. The Buddha and the sages are never trying to build themselves up, and as a result, they are not tossed around by external events, situations, and the reactions of others. They lived centered in the constant and unified field of all that is. If you want to finish reading that section, go ahead, get the book, read it. But let's sit in that unified field of all that is. I aming as. Let this sound wash over you. Let yourself remember your own I amness. Until next time, loved ones.